You are listening to the Martial Arts Lifestyle Podcast, where each week we have a conversation with everyday martial arts practitioners. From the first motivation to train, martial arts enriches our lives and becomes a lifestyle. Welcome to the individual stories of those martial artists living that lifestyle. You are listening to the abbreviated version. For those of you checking this out on YouTube, please hit the like and subscribe buttons. Full-length versions of this podcast can be subscribed to at our Patreon page, is www.patreon.com/malmag. Or individual full-length episodes can be purchased at our Gumroad page at malmag.gumroad.com. Before we begin this week's program, I would like to remind you to check out martialartslifestylemagazine.com to see articles on the martial arts. Click on the Store tab to find products for the practice of Southeast Asian martial arts, featuring Timmy B's brand sticks. Check out the Courses tab, currently featuring a course on the Dos Manos method of the Filipino Martial Arts. Also check out our Places to Train page, featuring top quality martial art academies from around the world. And of course, check out our events page for seminars and events coming up around the world. To see your school listed in our Places to Train page or your event on our events calendar, contact us at malmagonline@gmail.com. In this episode, I connect to Evansville, Indiana on Zoom, and I talk to the legendary martial artist Jeff Westfall. We talk about how he got into martial arts, the sarcastic Midwestern sense of humor, his first meeting with Guru Dan Inosanto, doing his own podcast, his excellent note-taking strategies, a mysterious stranger who came by to spar him for many years, and much more. Sit back and enjoy.
Hello, sir.
Hey, good afternoon. How are you?
I'm okay, sir. How are you?
I'm great. Hey, I love your shirt. That looks amazing.
Oh, this old thing?
Yeah, I love it. It looks awesome.
I just looked for a rash guard online that was a Phoenix, because my
nice.
academy is the Rising Phoenix Academy.
Phoenix, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and it turned out to be pretty good.
I like it. I like stuff that's kind of colorful. It's funny, I've been noticing that I like that in sneakers and shoes now, where I was always kind of like, oh, black or white in shoes. Now I'm like, no, give me red, crazy blue, and flame colored.
Are you a New Englander?
No, I'm originally born here, actually in California, but I grew up in Midwest in the Illinois-Iowa border, place called the Quad Cities.
Okay. Did you know? Shoot, I'm having an old man moment from my Muay Thai days. There's a fellow who teaches in Dubuque, Iowa, that's really good, and he's an old friend of mine.
Dean
Lisi. Dean Lisi.
I know of him. I've never met him, but I mean, Dubuque is literally just right up the river, essentially, from where I grew up.
In my opinion, one of the top Muay Thai instructors in the country.
Yeah,
in Dubuque, Iowa.
Yeah, I know him by reputation, and there's an academy guy that I knew when I first went there, still here, Jason Menadu, and he's in the medical field, like a surgical assistant or something.
Okay, I'm not familiar with that name, but.
Yeah, he's pretty much, I think, just an academy guy. I don't think he's kind of been out and around and a big name in that way. But he's from Dubuque originally as well. So, we talk Whitey's Ice Cream and Happy Joe's Pizza and all the stuff that we all have in common. It's good stuff. Yeah. Crazy. I mean, great place. I mean, honestly, like in the time period I grew up there, which had been basically the 70s and the 80s, it was actually a pretty talented area as far as martial art people.
I think it's spread in every direction from Chicago.
Yeah.
Exactly. A lot of interesting instructors, but a lot of good instructors through the years. And it's just, I can tell that the closer you get to the Great Lakes, there's more knowledgeable instructors in all the different arts, because there's just more people around.
Absolutely. Yeah. So it was cool. And it's always fun to kind of hear those areas like Dubuque or stuff that's in and around where I grew up, because it's just like, wow, okay, some people know about it. I mean, it's kind of cool.
How do you think I felt when I was able to bring Guru to my academy for a seminar once a year for about 15 yeyears? It was like, great. He's coming to Evansville, Indiana. Are you insane?
I know. And it's funny to hear, because kind of when you go back and you go into like not folklore, but stuff like that. So like, what would I call folk music, country music, you hear a lot of these little
culture,
towns.
yeah.
Yeah, in these songs, because there was always like some important industry or something with the railroad going through those
Yeah.
places or
The
whatever.
Rust
And
Belt.
so exactly. So just a
Yeah.
lot of amazing history. Like I even think of they call the area I grew up Quad Cities, but there's more than
Right.
four. Though I think the way they say it is four of them are technically cities by their size. The rest of them are not. They're
I
towns
see.
or
They're all in the
villages.
same universe, and
Yes,
it's got 4 asteroids in it.
exactly. Yes, yeah, that's the best way to think about it. And one of the small ones was called Coal Valley, and I never thought anything about that at all. I'm just like, okay, interesting name. Well, I find out later, like my father had told me many years later, he said, no, there was an actual coal mine there that obviously wasn't going
Wow.
maybe
Iowa's
when
not
I grew
renowned
up.
for its coal.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and this is on the Illinois side, but still, it might as well be
Oh,
Iowa. It's
right.
right next to each other.
Still.
But yeah, exactly. So there was one there that apparently drew plenty of people in to work, including my father's family, somebody in that family. So it's like, oh, okay. So some of the first gen, because I think I'm like fourth generation on both sides. They were German immigrants from both sides. And so I think it's like maybe my great grandfather, so
I
maybe a
also
great
am a
uncle in there.
square-headed Dutchman. Go ahead.
Well, that is awesome. But I mean, I love just
That
these
was
stories.
one of the racial slurs for us 150 years ago,
Yeah,
squareheads.
exactly. Right, exactly. Exactly. Like or a kraut. I mean, that one kind of makes me laugh. I'm like, well, yeah, I eat it. Sure. I like it. But yeah, it's
They
insults
didn't.
are
The
interesting.
number one newspaper in my hometown here, Evansville, um, up until the Germans sank the Lusitania in 1917, was a German language newspaper
Oh wow.
in Evansville, Indiana. It went out of business the next week.
Oh
It
yeah,
was
yeah.
it was the Evansville Democrat with a K. People were talking about locking Germans up in camps,
Oh my God,
so
yeah.
they started calling sauerkraut liberty cabbage. All kinds of stuff happened then. They did that.
Yeah.
Freedom fries was not the first time that happened.
No, of course not. No, no. It's everything we hear is all just recycled, from
Yep.
the past. And I got a better one for you even. So my college roommate, who was then roommate of mine for like 9 years, he for a brief time lived in Ohio in a place called Centerville or something like this. And apparently in this area in the early 1900s, we're talking about turn of the century into the 1900s, there was a guy by the name of Adolf Hitler
Oh
who
wow.
was a great philanthropist there, and he built roads and some
Wow.
schools.
What an
And there was
unfortunate coincidence.
exactly, so there were Adolf Hitler Road, Adolf Hitler School, all in this area. And then of course when the
Okay,
notorious
what were
one
the
comes about,
mascots for the school?
yeah, exactly, good question, good question. But once
They were the Obergruppenführers.
yeah, exactly, yeah, the Iron Eagles. But it's just like the when the
Wow.
notorious guy comes around, boom, then that all had to go away. And it's a shame because it sounds like this guy was actually a pretty good
Well, yeah, and he came by
fella.
the name honestly. I mean, Adolf
Yes,
Hitler's real name was Schicklgruber.
Schicklgruber, exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So that gets interesting.
So,
Weird.
what got you into the martial arts?
Oh man. Oh, so you're interviewing me? Okay. Well, you know what? Let me introduce you real quick. So we got to get
Sure.
started. All right. Welcome to the Martial Arts Lifestyle Podcast, everybody. And if I play this from the beginning, you're just going to hear us talking, and then you'll know who this guy is. So
It's
if you've
two old
actually,
men talking about the
that's
weather.
right. That's right. Yeah, it'll be fun that way. If you've listened to this podcast, probably the several of the last episodes, you've heard this gentleman's name come up. And so I've known him by reputation. This is actually my first time to get to sit down and talk with him. So
Yeah, it's a pleasure so far. I enjoy talking
yeah,
with you.
this is great. So we'll all get to kind of enjoy meeting him together. Unless you already know him and you're listening to this podcast, then you already know who he is. But Jeff Westfall, thank you so much for taking some time
Oh,
and
it's my pleasure, sir.
jumping on here. And he's from Evansville, Indiana. So what you're going to hear is two Midwestern people talk, which you'll get an idea of what Midwestern people are like if you don't know. We do have this ability to kind of just sit down and chat like we've known each other for a million years, and that's one of the. I think it's one of the greatest attributes we have from coming from that part of the country, at least in the generations we've
Yeah,
had.
I mean, we have the same mathematical number of sociopaths and weirdos as any other place,
But
but
yeah, not true.
huh? Because that's just humanity. It's about
Right.
3% sprinkled out there everywhere. But I find that even if they're the folks I don't like, there's definitely a certain personality, both of good Midwesterners and bad Midwesterners. You can spot it a mile away. Yeah, for sure.
Exactly. And there's a type of humor, and you'll like this story. I'll tell it real quick. I think everybody will. So, we all know that Paula Innocenta is from Chicago. She's a Midwestern lady, right? So Guru Dan is from California originally, and he asked me one day. He says, he said, Timmy, because he calls me Timmy, which is hilarious considering how big I am. And he says. He goes, so
well, at least they call you Little Timmy.
Yeah, a few people do, which is even great. I love it. It's so endearing. And he says, he goes, do you know about this kind of Midwest humor? You grew up there. I said, yeah. And he goes, and they call it what? Sarcasm. I said, yeah. He goes, so if I've done something that isn't really that great, and Paula tells me, well, great job, Dan, and she sounds serious, she's not serious, right? So I'm laughing, going,
I love Guru. When Guru asks me questions like that, that's I love him dearer when he's doing that than any other time.
Exactly, me too.
He's great. Now, do you know where he was in the United States when I was born in 1957 in Evansville, Indiana?
Where was he in 57? I'm gonna guess. Let's see, 57. He was possibly in Fort Campbell, Kentucky around there.
Which is an hour away from my house.
Oh, wow.
Evansville is way down in the southwestern tip of Indiana, and we're further south than most of Kentucky.
Wow.
Yes. So there's a definite southern accent to my Midwesternness. But but he was at Fort Campbell in the 101st Airborne, hour and a half drive away from me when I was born. And I never put the two and two together till I started doing some research to do a 4-part biography on him in my podcast.
Wow.
I was so impressed with, there's a lot of things to be impressed by Guru with, but one of the things that impressed me was how many different amazing people have had their lifelines crossed with his lifeline.
Yes.
And
absolutely.
Not just because he was already Guru Dan, but people like Amos Alonzo Stagg, when he was a high school football player and had the kicking responsibility suddenly thrust on him, and he sees this 92-year-old man get out of a car and come up. It's like, what a story,
Yeah.
And it's like he's Zelig or one of those from that movie where he meets everybody in history,
or like Forrest Gump,
and they fit in 3 categories. The amazing people he met before anybody knew who he was, the amazing people that crossed his life path line during his evolution into what he is now, and then the ones that are more of them are his products than anything else since then.
Right.
But what an amazing, spider web of all of it, or just lattice work of all these different connections. And I think he was able to figure out to accelerate that process by figuring out how he was going to use Bruce Lee's legacy with him in a way that didn't feel like he was betraying Bruce Lee.
Exactly.
And I think he was brilliant because, like, hey, he didn't say this specifically, but this is the vibe I get from talking to him for years and years. And that was, he's really sad. He didn't even know if he would ever run a school or teach ever. And, he got all these pleas and entreaties from people, and Steve McQueen, the actor. And he finally decided, okay, I don't need to make money, but I would like to continue the work of advancing research into various styles of martial arts, just as if Bruce Lee was still alive. And I can use my association with him to open doors with people that might not have ever listened to me before.
Right.
And I think that's the most brilliant way in a humane way, to exploit that connection for positivity.
Right.
It was maybe the single best decision made in the American martial arts in the last 70 years.
Yeah. I'm going to agree with you there. I think obviously there's a lot of, arguable stuff. And I've always said I consider him arguably the most influential martial artist in the history of it. And the reason why I say
he's certainly a candidate. If not number 1, he's in the top 5.
Right. And the reason I would say that is because if you told him that, he would give you 100 people that should be there instead of him.
Of course.
And I'm like, that embodies what I'm looking for in a martial artist anyway.
Right. I'll tell you, when I had that moment with him, I was already teaching karate and kung fu in my hometown here, starting in 1971. And I really, really wanted to train in Junfan Gung Fu and Kali, but at that time it was either North Carolina or this is 1980, either
Oh
North
yeah,
Carolina or Los Angeles,
or Los Angeles, right? Yeah.
And I didn't make enough money. I was too poor. And then he started doing the California Martial Arts Academy seminars in St. Louis.
Oh
And
wow.
I borrowed money and went to that first one. And I was, and at the time, I won't lie, I am a huge FMA guy, but at the time I wasn't yet. I had already trained in some eskrima. I had a fellow who was a postal cop came to my hometown and spent 6 months there and said if I would spar with him empty hand and help his empty hand game, he'd teach me some eskrima. And that was my first hands-on. That was like 1975.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. His uncle had taught him in Hawaii. But it was pretty basic, but it was fascinating to a young martial arts guy like that. But anyway, I went off on a tangent there. When I met Guro at this California Martial Arts Academy seminar in 1984, I was immediately impressed with everything he demonstrated. But at our first break, which they gave us frequent breaks because it was an 8-hour day and it was 5 straight days of it.
Wow.
Yeah. And I took a yellow legal pad notebook and took notes, and everybody told me I was crazy. So you can't write this stuff down. I filled it up.
Yeah, but I'm going to try. You're like,
yeah. So anyway, what impressed me the most about Guro that day, that first day I met him, on a long line of things that impressed me about him, is I got in line to talk to him. I had a question for him. I couldn't tell you what the question was today. Something tactical. I'm a tactical nerd, and I wanted to understand something. But the guy in front of me said, first I heard him ask his question. He said, "Excuse me, Master Inosano." And Guro goes, "Stop. He goes, "Please don't call me master. I'm not a master." And I'm standing here getting ready to ask him. I almost forgot my question. I was because the only other real seminar experience at that point that I had was with a fellow I'm not going to name, but you would know him if I named him for you. And he was brilliant. I learned from him, but it was an awful seminar. He broke my nose. He made me get up and spar with him. I was half his size in front of everyone. And when he found a mistake, he would pop me. He broke my nose, broke a rib, and just kept yelling at me, "Get your hands back up." I was a point fighter just beginning to learn how to fight with my hands up. And he made a bloody mess of me at a seminar that I paid him to come in and do. Yeah. Wow. So I was so into, getting some hands-on exposure to Jeet Kune Do that I almost didn't care if Guro Dan turned out to be not that nice of a person. I was going to do whatever it took to get what I needed to learn. And then I hear him say that. It was like, oh, this is going to be easy.
Yeah.
He's got to be easy to be around. And all I got to do is just suck it up and, do the best I can with it. But that's the moment for me when, that humility comes out, or the generosity. When was the last time you heard him criticize anyone's technique in a way that wasn't, you might try this.
That wasn't
that's
a positive spin. Yeah. You can do that.
Yeah. And my favorite was, this was around 1988. And this fellow came to a seminar here in the Midwest, and he really wanted to demonstrate his nunchaku skills for Guro Dan. And he was respectful, but he did not quit going up to Guro and going, "Can I show you now?" And
oh my God.
Right. And Guro would say, "Well, maybe later if we have time. Yeah, I'd like to see it." He always said, "I would like to see it, but I don't have time right now." So this poor kid did that all through it, and Guro Dan smilingly just, and finally when the whole thing's over and they've taken pictures at the end of the seminar, he comes up and Guro says, "Sure, show me what you got," and he swung him around. He wasn't very good. He hit himself in the head. He dropped him, and he picked him back up. And Guro Dan looked at him with that wrinkled forehead and that one eye cocked, and he goes, "That's pretty good."
Yeah, you gotta love it.
Oh, it was wonderful. It was just like, he's teaching us all these amazing techniques that can do damage in the wrong hands, but he's obviously the right hands.
Yeah.
He's the right guy for the job.
100%. Yeah, there's a lot, and I still learn from that. I think every time, every time there's a little conflict, and I'm finding myself, involved in it, whether it's verbal or whatever, later I just go, my God, Guru Dan wouldn't have handled it that way. And he's right. He's just correct by the way he handles a lot of stuff. And, and I think a lot of external conflict, especially between people he likes, tends to bother him a bit. And yes. Understandably, I get that. So a lot of it is just like, look, there's a lot of wisdoms coming from these people before us, and they've lived a lot of years. And it's like, yeah,
absolutely.
Listen to it, emulate it. Might not be what feels the best for you emotionally, but at the same time, does that need to be the thing? Probably not. Yeah, there's a story one of my teachers had told me. I think it was at some point he was in probably Minnesota or Michigan or something teaching, and some guys from this was probably the 80s, I'm going to guess, some ninjutsu guys come in. He was teaching box pattern, the low box, and you're getting that four kind of at the ribs or at the hip. And I guess one of these ninja guys had said, well, we would do a forward roll over that. And I am going to try to emulate Guru's answer, and I can't do it without sounding sarcastic as much as I try. But he apparently, with no sarcasm at all, went, wow, you guys must be really fast. And they said he said it with all sincerity. Like, well, yeah, he considered it like, okay, you must be really fast if you can do that. And it's like, wow, I can't even try to imitate it without just a little snark in there.
Well, you are from the Midwest,
exactly.
That's sarcasm. So.
That's right. Yeah. So part of it is just that. Sorry, it's not my genetics. But I love it. Oh my God, that's great. I mean, you started way back. Gosh, I almost don't want to leave this, but I want to get into how you got into martial arts to begin with. But obviously, you'd had a traditional martial art background until you got.
Yeah, certainly. My first black belt was in Kyokushin.
Okay, wow. So that. And especially with the seminar experience that you talked about, and then all of a sudden here comes Guru Dan, and then this stuff. Even with your experience with FMA before, this had to be just, especially in those days, seems so radically different.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I was ready to be wowed, and I was stunned by how wowed I was. I mean, just watching Cass Magda and a 40-ish old Guru Dan Inosanto doing sombrata for the first time I've ever seen it in my life, and him just popping a popcorn disarm out of flow and sending this rattan stick flying past me. I'm like, wow, and then the hardest thing for 40 hours, for 8 days or 5 days of 8 hours each day, was stay in the present, because you find yourself just going, that was so cool. Wait a minute, he's doing another one. You have to stay present, especially in the 1980s when this stuff was so revolutionary. It kind of reminds me what Guru went through when his dad introduced him to his first Filipino masters, the story he tells.
Exactly.
Right. Because he was a, button down karate black belt, and he really didn't understand about Filipino martial arts very much. And his dad takes him out to meet these old guys, and he said they were wearing flip-flops, they had Hawaiian shirts on, they had stogies, and some of their teeth are missing. He goes, these didn't look like, like martial artists that I'd seen before. And then of course he'd go, well, show me what you can do with a knife. And they made him feel so ineffective and, just helpless. The same way Bruce Lee had done when the night that they had met, and I can understand that to a degree after watching this, going, okay, I'm a decent kickboxer, but I have, and I did a little eskrima, but I wasn't prepared for this. And I'm just writing on that notepad as fast as I can. I squeezed juice out of that notepad for 2 years.
Wow.
Yeah. There were so many, drills and sombratas. Just imagine getting it all at once with a clean slate. That was tough.
Do you still have that notepad?
I do. It's enshrined in my files. Yeah.
Does it make sense to you now when you look at it?
I was not very good at taking notes yet, but I was good enough that I can look back at it and I still know what I was talking about.
Wow, that's good.
Well, it's a simple system, and that is, I just wanted to remind myself later that I saw this, because there was so much of a fire hose of information and technical demonstration happening that if I wrote everything in the moment that I was seeing, it would never work. So I would go like, I'd write just disarm that looks like a bong sao.
Oh,
right?
Nice. Okay.
I'd do something like that, just something that made it stick in my brain. And then on our water break, I would flesh out as many of them as I could real quick. And then at lunch, I'd eat lunch and do it. And then that night in the hotel, I did not go out partying. I stayed with my laptop. Well, first with my notebook until I got a computer I could take with me on trips. This is 1980, 84. And just worked over it. I brought it like 4 or 5 legal notepads, and I went through them, just updating every night. And then like having to go back and redo things because I learned something Thursday that explained something I learned Monday, and I really took it seriously. I was super into it, and it paid off. And I could still pull those notes out and use them today. But
wow,
I had not learned good note-taking skills yet. That grows over time. But I'll never forget this. This dude comes up, and he was already an instructor, right? And he just stands over me while I'm sitting there hurriedly. He's relaxing during the water break, but he stands up and he looks down at me and he goes, "You can't write this stuff down." And I don't remember what I said. Like, am I permitted to? And he goes, "No, it's not possible to do it." I said, "Well, okay. Do you mind not interrupting me while I'm trying?"
Yeah, exactly.
because Guru was giving us such a short window of time. He wanted to talk to me while I was trying to do this,
Right. And you're like, "I'm doing something, buddy. I'm doing something." Yeah.
Guess what? On the last day of the week, he comes up to me and he goes, "Hey, before we leave, can I borrow your notes?"
Ah, of course.
I said, as long as you sit next to me, you can look at them all you want. I said, but you don't get to borrow them.
Nope. You don't take them away because I've been through this road before. Loan things out, don't get them back. Exactly.
Yeah, I made a lot of good friends that day. My partner, I went completely alone, and my partner was another fellow who was looking for a partner, and he had come there from England. And Terry, I don't know if you know the many of the England group.
Oh yeah.
What's Terry's last name? Doggone it. He's Bob's
Terry Barnett.
Terry Barnett. His first seminar was my first seminar, and we were partners.
Oh wow. Wow. Okay, that's amazing. Wow.
Yeah, and I think we ran into each other one time since, but other than that, we've got a friendship that goes back over 40 years, but we only really interacted deeply on one seminar. He was a great partner. Yeah, we hit it off.
And this concludes the abbreviated version of the podcast. Please consider supporting the program by going to www.patreon.com/MALMAG and subscribing to the show. You can also purchase this individual episode or any individual episode at our Gumroad page. That's malmag.gumroad.com. Thank you for listening to this episode with Jeff Westfall. Coming up next week, I sit down at the Inosanto Academy during the instructor camp, and I talk with martial artist Jaspreet Singh. Our Malmag online store at martialartslifestylemagazine.com has a full selection of Timmy B's brand sticks for FMA and Krabiker Bong. Timmy B's brand now selling in Japan as well. Beautiful Timmy B's brand shirts and Dos Manos shirts are available. We also have sarongs, malongs, and wooden training knives. An online course in the Dos Manos method for FMA is available under the Courses tab. More courses coming soon. Check out the Places to Train tab to find schools near you, and click on the events calendar page to see what seminars and events are happening all around the world. And of course, visit our main page for articles on the martial arts. Music by Arthur J. Martial Arts Lifestyle Magazine and the Martial Arts Lifestyle Podcast are trademarked and copyrighted by TNT LLC.